going on, everybody out there in YouTube world, YouTube land? I am Real Estate Jay, and today let's talk about a topic that's near and dear to me because it's something I do every single day, and it's working a 9 to 5 and also doing real estate. Can you do both? And the answer is yes, absolutely yes. Now, the narrative is this, and here's my take on it. The narrative is quit your job, go full-time real estate, and just do that. And here's where I'm going to say no, unless they're paying your bills, right? They're paying your rent, your mortgage, your light bill, and all these other things that you have. Don't quit your job, until you're ready to quit your job, right? And I think that's the best part. When you're ready to leave, you can leave, but until then, you can do both. It will be hard. It is going to require some level of sacrifice and discipline, but it's something that is really worth it if you put in the time. Okay, so I'm going to say do both until it's time to quit. Now, let's go over a few points. How can you do both? A lot of it comes down to mainly just you. So let's talk about sacrifice, right? The very first thing I want to talk about is sacrifice because it's so important. Because there was times early on, I started off wholesaling real estate where there were times I had to sacrifice my weekends, right? My friends would hit me up and say, hey, let's go out, man. Let's do this and that. And I would say, you know what? No, I'm not going to go out today. I'm going to go out and put some bandit signs up, right? The yellow signs that say we buy houses. I would go out 9, 10 o'clock at night for 2 hours, and I would post up 10, 20 signs on the street post that say we buy houses. And I'll say, no, I'm not going out tonight. I'm going to chill, or I'm going to research some more real estate. I would sacrifice all the time. And even through the week, sacrifice a lot, telling my wife, hey, leaving a 9 to 5, I'm going to go and call for a couple hours, or I'm going to go and drive for dollars and things like that. It took a lot of sacrifice over time because doing both is just extremely difficult. You don't have as much time as the person that can do it full time. So you're trying to find ways to put the work in, put the time in so that you can have results. So the number one thing is you have to sacrifice and you have to have that discipline. Do not put a time limit on how long you need to sacrifice and how long you need to be disciplined. Just be dedicated to the game. That's my best advice for you, because when you put a time limit on it, you don't put as much effort into it. So just dedicate yourself to the game and say, this is my life now. The second thing I'm going to touch on how you can do a 9 to 5 and real estate at the same time, whether you're an agent, an investor, a wholesaler, or whatever, is time blocking. This right here, I owe everything to time blocking. I'm going to recommend a book, and I'm going to tell you what time blocking is. It's pretty self-explanatory. But there's a book called The One Thing. The One Thing by Gary Keller. It's an easy read, extremely great book that just talks about how to be intentional with your time and how to focus on, one big task at a time and put all your energy into there, right? It kind of dispels a little bit of multitasking a little bit, but it's a really great book. Really read it, put it on an audio book or something. It's a great read. Now, time blocking is when you literally just pick amount of time throughout the day to do a certain task. And all you're going to do during that time is that one task. You're not going to let anyone interrupt your time. You're not going to go out and watch TV or nothing like that. You're going to be intentional with that time. So, for example, like I just mentioned, I would leave my 9 to 5. And a lot of times I'm driving, and I would tell my wife, hey, I'm going to stop at a Starbucks here for about 2 hours to make some calls. So I would call from 5 to 7. Okay. During that time of 5 to 7, I'm not doing anything else but making calls. Okay. I'm not, I would scroll Instagram, but that's because I was on the phone. But I wouldn't do anything else that would interrupt me getting off that phone in 2 hours. Then I would go home, chill, eat, and I would tell my wife again, hey, for an hour and a half, I'm going to take these leads, put them into a spreadsheet so I can get the phone numbers. And I would intentionally start my day that way. My 9 to 5 is going to have me from this time until this time. So now I got this much time, right, which might be 6 hours or so. And that 6 hours, I'm going to take maybe 2 hours to call and another time for here. And I would time block my entire day. And I did this, and I'm still doing this because it is the best way for someone for a 9 to 5 to be able to look at their schedule and say to themselves, this is how I can put in the time. All right. And the weekends were huge. I'm just going to throw that in there right now. The weekends were huge. It was my best time to get ahead of the work because I didn't have to work on the weekends. And if you have a job that's on call, you can use that time to say, hey, Saturday and Sunday is my time to use that I didn't have throughout the week. And you put 4 hours into there on Saturday and Sunday, that's 8 hours. That's a lot of time you can use to get ahead. So time blocking is super, super important if you're trying to do both. It will help you out. It will not make you so stressed because you just put everything you can into that time blocking and you leave it there until the next day. All right. So we talked about sacrifice. We talked about time block. I'm going to talk about the 401k. So for some of us, we have jobs that have 401ks. And I'm going to encourage you because not everybody says it this way, but I'm going to encourage you to use your job and your 401k as a funding partner for you to buy real estate. If you're looking to try to buy real estate, fix and flips, or rentals, think about your job now as a funding partner. They give you money every 2 weeks, and they may also have a 401k for you. And that money right there is used to now invest. When you think about it, it's all your money in the first place. Part of your money is being invested with the company, and make sure you set up your company matching plan if you do have some free money. Use that money to now fund your part-time real estate business. If you do all those things before, you're going to sacrifice, you're going to time block, and then when you find yourself a deal, if you're looking for one, use those two things as your way to buy your first deal. Okay? That's what I did. When I found my first fix and flip, I used my 401k to help me fund it. And, since then, I've been able to buy other properties because of that. So can you do both? Absolutely. And I think my last point, and let me get to my sheet here. I think we already talked about the weekends. And, the main thing is just when you do both, you have to have a really strong discipline. Really, really strong discipline because it's really hard, not to mention if you have other things going on such as, family and everything else. You just have to make this work. People ask me all the time, I don't know how you do it, man. Or they say comments like, man, you're crazy for doing both. But I make the time for what it is that I love. And I love real estate because I know what real estate can do for me and my family. So instead of spending that time watching Netflix, I used to watch a lot of basketball, right? I'm from Detroit. I was watching the Detroit Pistons, which is not saying much because they sucked. Not really that good now. But, just taking myself through an emotional roller coaster watching basketball for no reason. So I started just watching the highlights. I wake up the next day, go to Sports Center, Instagram, Bleacher Report, see the highlights, and call it a day. I cut that whole part out of my schedule and started using that to do some real estate. So find the things that you do in your day that's not productive and cut it out and see what type of things you can do in real estate to help you go further. But the biggest thing is going to be sacrifice and discipline. And if you throw some time blocking in there, that'll help you get organized as well. So those are the things that really, really help me to be able to do both, even to this day. And not every single day, am I shooting 100% where I'm able to do all because the 9 to 5 does take over. But I'm constantly at it every single day. Even if I miss 2 or 3 days, I'm at it again. And then I use the weekend to catch up. Whether I'm driving for dollars, whether I'm checking up on properties or prospecting, all those things. I'm using that to get ahead in real estate. So if you're doing or thinking about doing both, you can absolutely do so. Do not let these people tell you that you need to quit your job and and just put your back against the wall. You don't have to do that. All right. Like, if you don't have to do it, don't do it. And again, if they're not paying your bills, quite frankly, thank you for the advice, but stop. You know? Now, if you end up having to get fired or something like that, then, it's different. But, I feel like being able to walk away from the game when you're on top is the best. Walking away, because some people just want to quit their jobs because they don't like it, and that's just not enough. Like, you need to be able to leave your job when your real estate is now making just as much as that, or creating some opportunities for you to make more money. Don't just leave because you just found real estate last week and you've been listening to Bigger Pockets podcast and you have no plan. You have to have a plan. You have to be disciplined, and you have to sacrifice. And that's just no way around it. But I hope this helps you guys when it comes to just the mindset of doing both. Those small things, again, those are the things that I've been doing for the last, 5-6 years of real estate that has helped me now, and I'm still using to this day to still get ahead. That person that's working full time, I may not be able to get ahead of them, but I still may have some success of my own by doing those few things, right? So do those few things. I hope they help you, and really double down, and also let everybody know in your family that this is what you're doing so they can support you and understand, while you're grinding, this is why you're doing it, all right? So like I say after every video, keep moving, keep learning, and keep growing, and I'm going to see you guys at work.